This is Hardcore Flip. I can't make the figure. So what is Hardcore Flip? Well, let me explain. It's a card game that I came up with the help of a couple of friends, geared towards building up teamwork, and it's also very luck based. So let me go over a quick demonstration round. The grid size is determined by how many players are playing. So let's say this is a 4-player game. I will do a 4x4 grid. For a 5-player game, you would do a 5x5 grid, etc., etc. So here is the grid, and I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see all that. Now the goal is to make sure that all the cards have at least one thing in common. Once you get that, your team earns a point. The most points you get at the end, whoever wins. The point is for multiple teams to be playing this at once, and then everyone's split into multiple teams, like tournament style. So, the rules are this. Once the grid has been dealt, every player will flip one card. So say player 1 flips this over, it's a 9 of diamonds. I can tell the camera can't really see that very well. So player 2 can flip over this, another 9, but this time a 9 of spades. So player 3 will flip over this, and player 4 flips over this. So you can see they do not all have the same thing in common with each other. So if you are in this scenario, then the game will automatically end. And you will have to redo all the cards, reshuffle, all that, but you don't always start over. So let's say that you end up getting all one thing in common. I'm going to deal out another grid. So let's say player 1 flips this, player 2 flips this, player 3 flips this, but player 4 flips this. They actually, despite this being a diamond, which if you can't see it, there it is. They all have one thing in common with each other. They are all the same. They are all touching each other in a straight line. And my thing is moving around. Just a minute. Let me fix that. So if they all have one thing in common, they get swapped out. Oh, not you. So you take them out, you go back to your deck, and you deal out 4 new ones to replace the ones in there. Now, since that happened, you cannot do the same thing. Each pattern can only be used once. Each thing in common can only be done once. Now, let's say I were to do this. They're not all one thing in common. And to be fair, neither would this, but you get the idea. So they would have 1 point and lose there. So, but let's say that instead of flipping over this, flipped over this. Now, this, you can see one thing in common, they are all black. Now, I'm going to invalidate this. I'm actually going to take this one out and put it in there because... So that would actually count as 1 point. Now, it's worth noting that what I did there, changing out the cards once you flip them over, is actually a disallowed move. You can't, like, flip one over, flip it back over, and then flip over another one. You can't do that. Now, let's say you were to do a pattern, 4 corners is a pattern that actually works. Assuming you're in a game where the number of players is divisible by 12. Or by 4, sorry. So like 12 or something else, like 24. Though I doubt you'll be able to get 24 players in one of these. Now, a full list of the rules will be on my website. Just check it out in the blog post, as well as in the Google Docs in the description. So, now let's go into like an actual full-fledged round. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. They do not have the same thing in common, but it is a pattern. They are all forming L's with gaps in between. Because if you were to flip over the 2 cards between, they would all make a giant square. That actually counts as a pattern. But again, you cannot do repeated patterns. A full list of patterns will be available in the coming weeks. For now, you're just going to have to rely on patterns you can easily make out. But you can add or remove patterns of your own, just make sure that they don't get repeated. So, let's say I go here, 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 and here. You can see they are diagonal. That is another pattern, even though they do not have the same thing in common. But your goal is to make sure they have one thing in common. So like, let's try here, 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 here. That doesn't actually count as a pattern, but you can see one thing in common, they're all red. So that would be 6 points now. And so let's try here, 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 and this. The 4 of hearts has to be the one to end the game. So that would end the game there because it's not actually a pattern and it doesn't match. They don't all have one thing in common, actually. That's what I was trying to say. So this here would end the game. And let me move the tripod a little bit closer. Oh, I cannot. So here, so that's basically the that's basically the gist of how to play Hardcore Flip. If you guys want more card games like this, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, comment below anything else I should do. Check out my new website. Check out the Lost channel. I've got videos going up there as well. I'll see you in the next video.